Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in this one, I've got a PvP update. We've got new abilities coming in 10.1, even more that you have not yet seen. And these are going to affect a lot of classes and can make them really powerful moving into this next patch. So if you want to start preparing for that or get yourself excited about what you should be checking out into the future, then this is going to be a really good video for you to watch. And of course, if you want to stay up to date with future news and changes, as well as entertaining and educational content, then do make sure to hit the subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. So let's get started here. As I pointed out in a previous video, which I will have linked if you haven't seen it yet, with the previous PvP changes, is some talents are being removed, some of them are being redesigned. So for Death Knight, the original version of Spell Warden has been removed, and there is a new version of Spell Warden. It will now reduce the cooldown of your anti-magic shell by 10 seconds, but also reduce its duration by 50%. However, anti-magic shell will now be usable on allies. How effective is that going to really matter? I feel like most of the time you're going to have to use anti-magic shield on yourself. This could maybe you've got a partner that if they went immune to magic crowd control at a certain moment, you could like play offensive with this and go for the kill, but that's really risky. That's really the only major benefit I see from taking this talent, is that you could use anti-magic shield offensively to avoid crowd control on your ally. But Death Knights are usually pretty selfish when it comes to crowd control avoidance and pretty much want to use it for themselves. So have to think about some possible synergies moving into the future with other classes that could benefit from this type of effect, but honestly not like super fantastic initially here. New PvP talent, Blood Forged Armor. Death Strike reduces physical damage taken by 20% for 3 seconds. Now this one is really big because you're getting crushed by physical damage at the moment. So now Death Strike not just providing you kind of like a lay on hands healing effect, but providing you some damage mitigation similar to Barkskin. Now, not all attacks in the game are physical, but a lot of them do impact Death Knight the most. Things like Arms Warrior, even Fury Warrior, mostly Warrior is what I'm thinking about here, and possibly a little bit of Rogue with this physical change. So you're gonna have more of an answer in those specific matchups. So this is definitely going to be powerful in those situations. For Unholy, Reanimation has been redesigned. Reanimates a nearby corpse, summoning a zombie for 20 seconds that slowly moves towards your target. If your zombie reaches its target, it will explode after 3 seconds. The explosion stuns all enemies within 8 yards for 3 seconds and deals 20% of their health in shadow damage. The zombie summoned from Reanimation is now no longer targetable or killable, and Reanimation now costs 30 runic power, up from 1 rune, and now has a 12-second cooldown with 2 charges. 20% of their health, that's 40%, that's half their health. You have 2 charges. If these 2 zombies make it to you, you are going to take so much damage from that. And I mean, Unholy did not have a lot of burst damage, kind of period. This could be a crazy amount of burst damage for you. Or people are just going to have to avoid it because it's no longer targetable. Can you snare it? Can you kite it? I mean, I'm assuming you could. If you can't target it, then it would have to be an AoE snare. Because previously you could kill it. It wasn't really that effective, and I don't think it was doing 20%. Also, stunning for 3 seconds with the crowd control reductions is, going to be pretty important to have more stuns. So this is a really big deal for Unholy. You're getting some mitigation towards physical damage, getting some burst with this new spell, as well as extra crowd control, and possibly some anti-magic shield synergies with your allies to go more frequently immune to crowd control. But I mean, crowd control is getting nerfed, so I mean, how important is that really going to be? Just gives you a little bit more team utility, but again, I think anti-magic shell is usually like a personal cooldown for most situations. Balance Druid, Dying Stars is being redesigned. Now causes the targets who remove Moonfire Sunfire to be vulnerable to Moonfire Sunfire 15 seconds. If already vulnerable, they gain half the remaining duration of the removed effect. That is a really confusing talent that I do not understand reading the first time. Hello? Now causes the targets who remove them, so the healer, or, well, you could feign death it as well, right? Does that count? To be vulnerable to Moonfire and Sunfire. What does that mean, vulnerable? If already vulnerable, they gain the half remaining duration of the removed effect. What does vulnerable mean? You got to give me some clarity here. Like, is my next Moonfire going to hit them really hard because they're vulnerable? Like, this one can be really cool, but it's too confusing for me to read on the first pass here. For Feral Druids, Leader of the Pack is now going to increase movement speed by 10%, was previously 5% critical strike. Honestly, kind of a nerf. New PvP talent, Wild Attunement. After successful Cyclone casts, you're automatically shifted into cat form, and your next ferocious bite, rip, or maim within 5 seconds also casts Feral Frenzy. Now, a lot of Feral Druids where I've seen complaints about just kind of like being damage bots and only doing damage and not being able to go into Cyclone. This is a talent focused around trying to get you to Cyclone, and Feral Frenzy is a really powerful burst effect that usually is inaccessible outside of its base ability. So going for a Cyclone and then immediately going into Cat and getting another big ferocious bite that's going to Feral Frenzy the target could be really scary. It at least maybe opens up the opportunity. Feral Druids have to let me know in the comments down below, like how inaccessible is Cyclone on the tree, period, that going after it wouldn't lose you something on the Druid tree that you really need, that this doesn't counterbalance. But losing 5% crit chance for 10% movement speed, like I don't know why you would. This doesn't. I feel like this is almost like deleting the talent pretty much for leader of the pack, unfortunately. For Evokers, new PvP talent, Dreamcatcher. Sleepwalk no longer is a cooldown, but its cast time is increased by a half a second. So you're going to be able to spam Sleepwalk like Polymorph or Fear. I don't know if this is really going to make Devastation Evoker like a powerhouse class that you can spam Sleepwalk now, honestly. Just trying to think about it. Would spam Sleepwalk really change things? Yeah. Probably not. Now, Mage, this is the big one. This is one that's like everybody is talking about. If you're not a Mage, you think it ruins the game. If you're a Mage, you're thinking, finally. New PvP talent, Master Shepherd. While an enemy player is affected by your Polymorph or Mass Polymorph, your movement speed is increased by 25%, and your versatility is increased by 6%. And additionally, this is the big one, Polymorph and Mass Polymorph no longer heal enemies. So you're going to be able to polymorph enemy targets low health and maybe a healer even, and prevent them from recovering while giving this significant benefit. Now, obviously, with the crowd control changes and reductions to polymorph, there needs to be an added effect to it to make it, something that you actually want to cast. So getting these stat benefits and the ability to low Cyclone people, basically, it's dispellable unlike Cyclone, though, could be insane. Like you Glacial Spike a healer down to 20% and then sheep them, get on top of them, do something else. Like, this is a really powerful effect. New PvP talent, Ethereal Blink. Blink and Shimmer apply slow at 100% effectiveness to all enemies you blink through. And for each enemy you blink through, the cooldown of Blink and Shimmer are reduced by 1 second up to 5 seconds. So if you're cutting a lot of pet classes, blinking through it, snaring all of the pets, as well as getting a lower cooldown blink for more mobility to be able to move around the map. So definitely some compensations here for Mage, given that they're likely going to be hit the hardest with the crowd control changes moving forward. And this could make it either, I don't know, like this is such a crazy change, honestly. Like you're giving it like a Cyclone mechanic that I feel like we're gonna have to test this out in the future to really see its impact. But I can see why it has such a polarizing effect when you read it as a non-Mage or a Mage player. For Brewmaster, Incendiary Breath has been removed. Hot Shrub PvP talent now has an additional effect. It will also make your next Fire Breath incapacitate targets after purifying 100% of your max health. I don't understand that. I'm confused about how to understand that. I think it's a nerf, but I'm not sure. And here's a big one. Bedazzle. New PP talent for Holy Paladins. Call upon the light to blind your enemies in a 20-yard cone, causing enemies to miss their spells and attacks for 3 seconds. 1.5 second cast time, 90-second cooldown. Vengeance Aura has been removed. That's a big removal. I don't know how I feel about this one. Like it takes a 1.5 seconds time to cast it, and it only lasts 3 seconds. I don't know how to feel about this. Like, and I guess like you could like maybe hit a crowd control effect with it, but you got to be 20-yard range. Like the fact that it has a cast time, I think is the main thing that is not making this seem too appealing. Maybe if it was instant cast, like a Ret Paladin runs at you and just laying down all the hard-hitting attacks, you just bedazzled, and then you're not getting one shot immediately. And with how Holy Paladin has been so far in the expansion, I was really hoping it was going to get something cooler than this, if I'm going to be honest. For Priest, Phase Shift is now lasting 1 second up from a half of a second. And for Shaman, what's going on with Shaman here? Swelling Waves has been removed. I really like that one. A little sad to see it go. Spectral Recovery has also been removed. No more AFK Ghost Wolf healing anymore for Shamans. And a new PvP talent for Enhancement. Stormweaver. Consuming Maelstrom Weapon on a damaged spell causes your next Healing Surge or Chain Heal to gain the full benefits of Maelstrom Weapon based on the stacks consumed. So if you consume a Maelstrom Weapon on an Ellie Blast, you'd have to hard cast a Healing Surge. and it would get all of the benefits as if it were Maelstromed? Or does it mean the next time you get to full Maelstrom, the next heal is double? It's like if you're running 10 Maelstrom, it's 20. Again, I'm kind of confused by the tooltip here to tell you guys whether or not that is. If somebody can clarify that in the comments that's smarter than me, please do so. But it's hard for me to understand this. The healing bonus from improved Maelstrom weapon is reduced by 75%. PvP combat was 25. Ooh, you're getting nerfed a lot here on your Maelstrom weapon. And also the healing bonus from Raging Maelstrom will be reduced by 60% in PvP combat, up from 40. With the set bonus changes and how much healing you're actually getting out, maybe this just puts you in the same spot. I'm not sure. Honestly, not really exciting stuff here for Enhance, given the fact that this is too hard for me to understand, and these look like huge nerfs. These look like huge nerfs. So a little bit confusing here. Seems like Unholy DK and Mage were the big winners here for this current update for new PvP spells. Definitely Death Knight and definitely Mage. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you liked it. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. What are some ideas that you've got maybe going in your mind for what classes could need in terms of new PvP talents for 10.1? Other than that, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.